Welcome to the Robin's Nest. Quite a few things broke today in the open wheel world, Formula One, Indycar. So let's get right into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you right out of the gate once again for watching. I appreciate it. It means a ton. More than you know, actually. So, we don't want to do too much fluff today. I want to just go get straight into it. Probably the worst kept secret in the Formula One world was finally announced officially. Sergio Perez will not be Max Verstappen's teammate, next year in Formula One. I think all the rumor mill, I think it's all but officially been decided that Liam Lawson's going to be his teammate. And you know, that's okay and everything. I like Liam, and he's been quick in the RB ever since he took over for Ricciardo this year towards the end of the season. He's been pretty quick. I mean, he's been right on pace with Yuki in several Grand Prix. My only thing is Yuki's been with Red Bull for quite a while now, and I don't understand why they haven't moved him to the flagship team yet. Now, he's been with RB and AlphaTauri for years now, and they're reluctant to move him up. And I don't understand. I mean, the rumor mill online is because of his attitude during the race on the radio. You know, he gets flustered easily and goes off quite a bit, which is kind of funny coming from a small dude. I think me and Yuki are about the same size, kind of short, and I don't know, it's just comical to me coming from somebody like that you know, he goes off as much as he does. So, but I still, you know, even with that, you could hone that aggression in a little bit, especially if you had the right kind of leadership around him, you know, the right kind of tutelage. And Yuki has shown speed. I mean, a lot of speed on several occasions in the RB. Even when, like, AlphaTauri had a garbage car, he still got better results out of that car than what should have happened. So, you know, I don't understand. They took shots back in the day with several drivers that it didn't pan out. Daniel Kvyat being one of them that comes to mind. Russian driver. Which, Kvyat, he's done fairly well in sports cars, but you know, sports cars in Formula One, that's two polar opposites, but he was not a Formula One driver. I think it was Vettel that coined his nickname, the Submarine. You know, because he would just drive off in the corner and take somebody out. I think he did it to Vettel at one point. That's why I called him that. But yeah, I just wish that Yuki would get a shot. You know, when's the last time we had a Japanese driver running at the pointy end of the grid in Formula One? It's been a while. You know, Kobayashi comes to mind. He was never really up front on a consistent basis. Neither was Takuma. You know, whether that be car, whether that just be whatever it is. You know, I'm not trying to cast shade at anybody, but it's just the fact is that there hasn't been a Japanese driver consistently running up front in Formula One in a long time, if ever. And it would be cool to see, honestly. The other bit of news that broke is not as big as that. Which, by the way, and Sergio hasn't announced. There was no joint announcement with this as to what he's going to do moving forward. You know, Cadillac, Formula One, I guess that's the name of the team. Anyways, GM's Formula One entry has been granted, and so in 26 they're going to be on the grid. And they're going to be in search of some drivers, so, you know, 2 at least, and then probably a reserve or 2. But now you got a massive pool of drivers who are falling off the grid going into next year with Valtteri and Zhou Guanyu and Magnussen, which Magnussen, I think he's going sports car racing. And who knows if he'd come back to Formula 1 if he got called up, you know. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It'd be hard pressed not to. But now you got Sergio on the sidelines. And honestly, you'd be crazy for him not to be at the top of the list. Even with as awful as his, you know, season this year after I think the 4th Grand Prix, he kind of fell off a cliff with performance. Even with that, if I was starting a Formula 1 team, he'd be the first person I'd call 100%. 100%. So in IndyCar, Juncos Hollinger announced that Connor Daly is going to be with them full time going in 25. I don't know if it was a multiple year deal or if it was just a 1 year deal, but you know, Connor used to drive for them back when he first started in open wheel, and so it's kind of cool to see him go back. He ran a handful of races at the end of last season and did pretty good. I can't remember which race it was. One of the races late last year, he finished top 5 for the Juncos car. It was just the way that the race panned out, you know. It was pretty cool to see because I've been a Juncos fan for a while, and then really once Romain came over and drove for him, you know, I'm a Romain Grosjean fan. That's an unpopular opinion, an unpopular thing to say, evidently, because Romain's always been accident prone, you know, in Formula 1 and in IndyCar. But if he can ever keep it between the walls and going straight, he usually gets a pretty good finish. Especially with Andretti. He should have won a couple of races with them, and you know, Scott McLaughlin put it into one of them. But I like Connor. Connor is a versatile driver. You know, he can jump in anything and be up to pace pretty quick. I was reading the other day that he had an Xfinity deal set up for 25 with Sam Hunt, which is a Toyota team in Xfinity, and with Polka Dot, which is a sponsor. When he ran the Indy 500, that was a sponsor, and it kind of fell through. Leadership at Polka Dot didn't want to fork out the money, so that would have been interesting to see. Because Sam Hunt's team, they have speed. I don't know how much factory support they get from Toyota, but Toyota badges are all over his cars almost every week, so I'd imagine he gets a bit. The Toyota teams in Xfinity, there's not like there's an overabundance of them, so outside of Joe Gibbs, you know, there's only 1 or 2, so I'm sure they get some kind of support. But Sam's a young dude, and you know, it's kind of crazy to see somebody like that be a team owner and relatively successful. I don't think they've won a race yet, but they've come really close. You know, John Hunter ran really well with them. Corey Haim's had some pretty good runs. So it would have been cool to see Connor running full season in Xfinity, but even better to see him in IndyCar. He belongs in IndyCar. That's his bread and butter. You know, with Juncos. And Juncos, they've been investing a lot of money in that team. When they started out a couple years ago, or a few years ago at this point, it was one of the smallest teams in IndyCar, and they've invested a ton to you know, build infrastructure, hire engineers, personnel, and stuff to get on the same level as some of the top teams. You know, they'll probably never be with a Ganassi or a Penske, just in sheer terms of money being thrown into it. But you know, even with not being on the same level as those other teams funding wise, you know, it hasn't stopped Andretti from competing with them and beating them, you know, on occasion. So it's gonna be fun to see what Connor can do with them. I hope he runs. I hope he's consistently in the top 10 at least. You know, you do baby steps, one at a time. Be pretty neat. M Sport announced that Gregoire Munster is going to get a second season in WRC in the main game in a Ford Puma. And I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand, you know, unless it's just monetarily, he brings funding to for it to make sense. Because I can't make any sense out of it. So Greg Warr, if I'm not mistaken, he never won a WRC2 rally. I think he came close on a couple occasions, but I don't think he ever won one. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me. But what I do know is that last year was his first year in WRC, and he was woefully off the pace. Woefully. And the M Sport seem to have like a little reality show that they play on, I think it's on YouTube, that Dirtfish puts on. I'm pretty sure Dirtfish puts it on. But regardless. And leadership was talking about, we need to, going into this past season, we need to podium and win rallies in order for the team to stay afloat. We need the results because we need the money. Okay. Greg Warr was never even close to that. The only time he ever come close to getting on the podium was when everyone in front of him had issues. I just don't... The reason I have a problem with it too is I love M Sport. Okay. When OGA drove for them a few years ago and won the championship, that was awesome. I loved seeing it. And I'd love to see it happen again. But like what are we doing with these, like what are we doing? It's just a nonsense decision, in my personal opinion. I'm not saying that to throw stones at anybody, just my personal opinion. The driver pool was a lot deeper than that. I understand Greg Warr. He knows the ins and outs of the team at this point because he spent a season with them. Well, he spent more than that because, if I'm not mistaken, he was with M Sport when he was in WRC2. So I'm sure he probably is like a family at this point and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to compete for podiums and wins, then you should probably go out and hire someone who's got a proven track record. Nikolai Gryson would have been a perfect person. And they haven't announced the other driver for the second car yet, so who knows? They may actually do something like that. But I'm just saying, you have Nikolai Gryson, several drivers, Johan Russell, who've proven to be consistent winners in the lower categories, who could probably make that transition into WRC1. But one thing's for certain, this is going to be a make or break year for Greg Warr. It's either put up the results, start getting podiums consistently, or you have to find something else to do. His teammate last year was running for podiums consistently every rally. And it's a big deal because the Ford, for those who aren't familiar with WRC, Ford is not on the same level as Toyota and Hyundai are with factory support, funding, all that kind of stuff. So for them to be able to, for a driver to come out there and be able to compete on the same level as Toyota and Hyundai in a Puma, that's talent. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope Greg Warr does great. It's just history has not proven that that's likely to be the case. So I don't know. We'll see. That's all for today. So if you like this, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, all that fun stuff. If you're interested in die-cast racing t-shirts, racing hats, different kinds of literature, magazines, books, auto parts, we have some rare stuff. Check out our online stores, Mercari, eBay. I'll put the links in the description. And as always, I'm super appreciative of everybody watching this. You guys are awesome. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Peace.
És 100 fölfele. 100 fölfele, jobb 2 tempó, 20-ra bal 2 tempó, 20-ra bal 2 tempó, 25-re bal 2 szűk, bal 2 szűk, és bal 2, és bal 2, majd 50-re jobb 2, itt a bal 2, és 50-re jobb 2, aszfaltra jobb 2, majd szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra. Szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra.